Hi, here's a short video on how to create the connecting rod as shown on the screen as described in the textbook Introduction to Solid Modeling Using SolidWorks, Chapter 1, Problem 10. The first thing I think we should do is turn off the simplified interface. You know you have the simplified interface on if you look in the lower right hand corner and you see where it says simplified interface. Go up to the top left hand side, click where it says SolidWorks, move your mouse over to View, go down and uncheck Simplified, and it'll be gone. Now, next we need to tell SolidWorks we want to create a part. Highlight part, click OK. After that, we need to set our material, we need to set our number of units, we need to set our drafting standard, and number of decimal places. To do those three items that I just mentioned, click the gear, go to Document Properties, Drafting Standard, we set to ANSI, Units, we want to make sure we're in inches, pounds, seconds, number of decimal places, in the case of lengths we want 3, so we click the down arrow and set that to 3. For the angle, we're going to set that to 3, and for our mass properties, we're going to set that to 4. Then we click OK. Finally, we need to set our material. We set our material by clicking where it says Material, and then right-clicking on Edit Material, and we scroll down to where it says Cast Carbon Steel, click Apply, click Close. Now we're ready to start our sketching. We're going to create one main sketch and then a couple of additional ones, and we'll be done. So we start by clicking Sketch. We want to sketch on the front plane, so we click where it says Front Plane. We'll add a circle initially, add 2 circles initially. The first circle will be at the origin, so we'll draw out a circle there. Then we'll move to the right and draw a second circle. Notice that dashed line, that just shows that my circle will be added aligned horizontally with the first circle. So I'll draw out a second circle. That looks good. I'm done with the circle tool, and I'll click OK. Now I'm going to click on the line tool, and I'm going to draw a line connecting one circle to the other circle. I don't want the line to continue from where the other one left off, so I hit the Escape button, go back up to the line tool, relocate a line at the edge of the circle, click to the next one, hit Escape. I'm done with my 2 lines. What I need to make sure is that each line is tangent and coincident with the circles. If you don't show both of these little green boxes, these are known as relations. They're similar to dimensions, but they're shape constraints as opposed to dimensional constraints. If, for example, one of those isn't there, and I'll delete one, that just means that the line right now at this end is not tangent to the circle, which means it can cross the outline of the circle in more than one spot. So in order to make sure that you have a tangent relation, or to add a tangent relation, all we have to do is hold down the Control key, click on the outline of the circle, click on the line itself. I want to clear these, that didn't work properly. Had more things selected. Click on the circle, click on the line. You'll see in selected entities, there's the circle, there's the line. I can go down and add a relation that's a tangent relation now. I can center my sketch if it was out of view by going up to the heads up toolbar and clicking Zoom to Fit. I'm done with setting properties. Now what I need to do is give some dimensions as described in the book, and then maybe I'll add a couple more relations if I still need to. So the book describes the diameters of the circles. It says this first circle should have a diameter of 2.25. So we'll type that in, say OK. The second circle needs to have a diameter of 1.25 or a radius of 0.625. So I say OK. And I have those circles. Notice that the one circle is outlined in black and the other and the lines are in blue. Blue means underdefined. What that means is it's not wrong, but it means I can move those objects and change their shape or change their properties. So let me show you that by clicking out of the dimension tool and now dragging. You can see I can rotate it, but I can't move the large circle. It's fixed in space, fully defined. So when it's not being highlighted, it's in black. So in order to fully define these other two, I need to add another dimension, which is the distance between the two circles. So I'll add that in. That distance needs to be 3.25. So I'll put that in. And I need to add one more relation. I need to make this circle and this circle both horizontal with each other with respect to their center points. So I uncheck dimensions, go back, hold down the control key, click on the one circle, click on the other circle. That didn't work right. Let me try that again. Again, all I'm trying to do is force this circle to always be horizontal with the other one. So I'm editing sketch, which is correct. Okay, I don't know what I did wrong before, but now I can select horizontal. And now you can see all of the sketches are outlined in black. That means it's fully defined. It also says that at the bottom of the screen. Now we're ready to do an extrusion, which is a feature which will add thickness to our sketch. So I do extruded boss base. The image rotates to the trimetric view. The textbook tells us to use a mid-plane extrusion of a 1/2 inch, and we need to define that we want our three contours to be that 1/2 inch thickness. Now in reality, we want that bigger circle side to actually be larger. We want that to be 1.5 inches. So we'll have to do that as well. So now let's go back, click another extruded boss base. On the left side it pops up and says, what sketch or plane do you want to use? In this case I want to reuse sketch 1, so I highlight it. Now I'm going to select just the contour for the circle, and I'm going to change that number to 1.5. And now I have my part looking like this. That's very close to what I need, right? Only thing missing are the holes, and then I'll be done. So let's put those on. So I'm going to click sketch again. First thing it does is it pops up a message on the left side saying, where do you want to do this? Sketching. In my case, I want to do it on the front plane again. So I click front plane. I'm going to draw another circle, which is going to be used to be the cutout for this one. And then I'll draw another circle on this side. And I want this circle to be overlapping or concentric with that outer circle. So notice if I highlight it, I get a little pointer that shows up, and I can click there and I can draw that second circle. Now all I have to do is add dimensions to those two. So let's dimension this one. That inner circle should be 1.125. So I say OK to that. And then this circle needs to have a diameter of 0.5. So I say OK to that. Now I need to tell the software, if I rotate my part slightly, you can see those two circles on that center plane, or that front plane. I need to say I'm done with dimensions, and I want to go to features, and I want to do now an extruded cut. I want to cut through the part in both directions all the way through. So I'm going to do a through all, both directions. There we go. Now you can see that. All right, I'm almost completely done with this part. I'll go back. I'll use the view orientation button in the heads up toolbar to look at the part head on. Now I need to just put in the little keyway, which is the little notch here, and then I will be done. So in order to do that, I'm going to do one more sketch. So I click the Sketch tab, click the Sketch button. As before, I'm going to say let's sketch on the front plane for this. I'm now going to draw a rectangle, but in this time I'm going to do a corner rectangle, not a center rectangle, because I want my rectangle to use both the origin and the midpoint on the left side of that rectangle. And I'll show you exactly what I mean by that in just a second. So I've got the rough rectangle defined. I might as well dimension it now. In the book, we see that this side needs to be 0.688. And we see that this side needs to be 0.25. And then we also can see, if you look carefully, that, well, first off, the rectangle, oops, let's get out of doing dimensions, that the rectangle can move up and down, and we don't want that. We also want that rectangle to be perfectly centered with respect to the left side with the origin. So a cool feature is if I move my mouse over the left edge, you can see the little yellow rectangle that appeared, square. I can select that, and I can select the origin, and I can tell it, if I remove the line from that, that I want to make those two things coincident. So let me try that again, because it didn't quite work the way I wanted. So I click on that little triangle, midpoint it's called, and I click on the origin, and I say let's make those coincident. And now I've fixed where that rectangle is. Okay, because the rectangle, by the way I drew it, already said these sides were horizontal and these sides were vertical. So the only thing left to do is to cut that out. So let's do another feature, extruded cut, like we did before. In this case, we're going to say through all. We say OK, and there's that cut. And now if I go and look at the part from a 3D perspective, say like the trimetric view, looks identical to what's in the book. Now I can check my mass properties by going to the Evaluate tab. If I don't have a tab showing, I go to right-click on any existing tab, go to the drop-down menu, select tabs, and make sure I have the tab I want checked. In this case, Evaluate is it. I click Evaluate. I can check the mass properties. The volume should be 6.5136. So we'll say 6.51 for the volume. Let's check again with what we were given as the solution. 6.51. Yes, so we're within 1% of the number that's on here. So we are good. We are golden. So that means all we have to do is now save our part, and we are done. So let's save this. We'll name it to be something like P1_10, and we will then submit that. Have a great day.